What are the reactions you get from Syrians when you present this argument of making peace with Israel, working with Israel against Iran's occupation of the Middle East?
Of course, now the people were afraid to publish their opinion, their real opinion. But I know that 90% of the people in Syria will welcome peace with Israel, because not only the revolution, also the opening media, the internet now. Earlier, they had only one source: the Syrian media, the Syrian education system, and in the religious discourse, all was hate against Israel. So now everyone can get the news and the information from different sources. They got the truth, and they know, they are sure now that the regime was cheating them and sending them in the wrong direction. I think, but they were afraid, and still now they are still afraid to publish their mind. But as soon as they feel secure, and Israel will do, of course, something to encourage them, you will see most of the Syrian people will welcome that. Syrians need more clear messages from the Israeli that they are not going to take their land or to deport them from their houses. And this will need some time, but one day they will cooperate. And I know, because I visited Israel too many times, and I know talked to too many Israelis. I know that in Israel, as Syrian, we don't have any enemies here, and one day the Syrian will understand that, and will happen. Israel did a lot and is doing a lot. We expect that in the next future that when Israel did the job and take all the threat against itself, against the Israeli people and the Syrian people, because the weapons that Israel attacking now were used to kill us, to kill Syrian people. So we are happy to get rid of it, and I hope that Israel will do the next step exactly so good like this.
My guest today is Issam Zeitoun. He's a Syrian opposition activist. He joins me here in Jerusalem. Issam, you left Syria over 3 decades ago, and you've been fighting against the Assad regime since then. Now we're witnessing a historical moment with the toppling of that 50-plus year dictatorship. As an opposition activist, I have to ask you, how are you feeling?
I feel very happy, over happy, because Assad regime was not an ordinary regime like for example, Gaddafi or Mubarak in Egypt. Assad regime was a part of the Iranian project, which tried and worked to take control over the entire Middle East. So they don't have only Syria in vision. They want to liberate Jerusalem first, and to Mecca, and the entire Islamic world. So getting rid of Assad regime was a historic event. To be honest, I couldn't expect that it would be that fast, But we are very happy and a little bit anxious about the future.
And to that point, Washington is reportedly in talks with the Syrian rebel groups that toppled the Assad regime, Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, HTS, which is considered a terrorist organization both by the U.S., Turkey, and other Western countries. Now we're hearing talks of the United States and other allies countries considering removing HTS from its terror list. The rebel leader al-Julani is a former al-Qaeda fighter, but he says he's renounced his jihadi past, and he's ready to rule as a more moderate leader that embraces Syria's very vast minorities. But I want to ask you, in your eyes, do you really think that al-Julani has put his jihadi past behind him?
Expect that change from a jihadi who was his own whole life adopting this ideology. I don't think that even his soldiers, his supporters, Jolani is a part of Syria. Maybe some people supporting him, but not, okay, as a liberator, as a fighter against Assad to collapse Assad regime, but not as a ruler. Syria is much more important than to be ruled by someone who had a jihadi background. I think that, and I hope that now they are forming a government, but I hope that it will lead to general election about the political image of Syria and structure, and taking into consideration all the differences between the very several
minority
groups. So I think he won't be able to rule Syria as a president. It will be very good if the international community help us or push him to organize an election, and everything will be good.
Do you think that these Western countries should declassify HTS as a terror organization?
If they still have him on their terror list or not, he is now in Damascus. So the question is, the Syrian revolution started 2011, and we got some support from the international community, but in 2012, they stopped supporting us because some of those conservative people appears, Al-Qaeda and Daesh and Nusra and everything, then they stopped to support us and to start to support Assad against the revolution. And now we see that the same one who because of whom the international community was blaming us and stopped supporting us, they are, we saw that how he was enabled to. I don't think that he could do it alone. So there is international support, regional support. And I hope that the one who is controlling this knows what he's doing. Those people are okay. They fought against the regime. They liberated Damascus. They threw the Iranian troops. Of course, we won't forget the Israeli rule in this because they hit Hezbollah and the Iranian militias in Syria very hard. So it was able to for Golani to remove him outside of entire Syria. So I don't think that if they remove him from the terrorist or not, it's not the most important thing. The most important thing, I think, his next step, not what he is promising, what he's saying, but we want to see events and acts.
Way before the toppling of the Assad regime, you were already advocating for peace between Israel and Syria. What made you take that position?
It's a long story. It's a personal story. I'm originally from the village of Beit Jan in Khermon. So the IDF took over Beit Jan in 1973, and they withdrew after the ceasefire agreement in 1974. So my family, we visited Beit Jan after that. I was a little child. But I've heard stories about the behaviors of the soldiers. They were not that bad as they are presented in the media. So since then, I started to search, to doubt all the propaganda of the regime. And I met, of course, too many Jews in Europe during my life there since 1990. So all this changed my mind, and when it started in Syria, and I hoped, and I was right also, that we could get help from Israel in this time, because in Israel we don't have any enemies in Israel. So Israel is willing to help us, and it helped us. And we hope that this will be a start of future of peace and good life.
And until diplomatic ties are actually established in the future, hopefully between Israel and Syria, you actually took part in big humanitarian projects sponsored by Israel to help Syrians during the civil war, including the Good Neighbor Project.
Yes, so I was connecting people. You know, Syrian people were told all the time, either it is through the education programs or the religious discourse or the media, everything was demonizing Israel. You know, so everything bad comes from Israel. Israel is behind everything what the Syrian or the Arabs face. The regime was all the time, telling the people that Israel would take their land and kill them, and I realized that it's not the truth, and I tried to convince my people to accept humanitarian aid and to accept to be treated in the hospital. So, and I worked with some humanitarian organization in Israel. Israel Flying Aid mainly, so to establish few hospitals inside the Syrian on the Syrian ground. It was through long years, and I got too many contacts inside Syria, and I know that too many people will hope to have a peace agreement with Israel, but they could not publish that. And even now, they're still afraid because we know that liberating or fighting against Israel or resisting the Zionist project, as they call it, is the first priority of the Islamists and of the nationalists. So we still, the people inside, still afraid to publish their mind, but believing when they feel secure, when there is democracy, everyone will welcome a good relation with Israel.
Al-Jolani says he's not interested in a war, but many here in Israel are understandably skeptical. It wouldn't be the first time that we're threatened by an Islamist extremist terror group right on our border. What do you think?
It's good that he said that, but he could say that the entire conflict with Israel, it was an artificial one that was made by the old regime. So we are looking for a good future, a good relation with Israel, taking into consideration the wonderful job that Israel did towards the Syrian dilemma, helping too many people, treating too many people. So he could be more clear, but let's wait until we see his events, his acts, because promising now, of course, he cannot fight. Everyone knows that Syria cannot fight. He did not bring anything new.
Israel is being criticized by the international community for deploying IDF troops to the demilitarized zone in the Syrian-controlled part of the Golan Heights as a defensive move. In your opinion, should they leave?
The Israeli? It depends also about how Israel will treat people there. I'm getting all-time calls from the border area that the IDF took over a few villages. And now, of course, I understand that the IDF, they have job to do. The Iranian militias have been there for 14 years. So no one from Syria knows what they have built, terror infrastructure, tunnels, how they are. So the Israelis now are doing something, and I hope that the life will be normalized, and the people will be supported with aid and with medicines, what they need. And I don't think that people, everyone in Syria is jealous and would love to have the same life condition like the people in Majd al-Shams, for example, in Golan Heights. So from the people don't have anything against it, especially when the situation is in Damascus still not very clear. So we would prefer to be under the control of Israel, at least until everything settled down in Damascus.
Years ago, you actually proposed the creation of a safe zone in the Golan Heights. What did you mean by that?
Listen, any Arabic leader who wants to take supported by the entire Arabic world and Islamic world, he just need to be against Israel or to open war against Israel. So Iran was trying to surround Israel with the ring of fire, and the Syrians are not we cannot let them take over our land. So I thought that building a safe zone along the border will help Israel and will help us. So we will fight the Iranian because it's our land. We are not defending Israel. So, and Israel will enjoy this because it won't be blamed from the international community, from the Arabs, that they are fighting on the Syrian ground. So now it's the same. I think that the best way is to get this area ruled by Syrian people who are loyal to Israel or loyal to peace. So no one can, even if Al-Jolani will try to come towards Israel, so we will keep him back. This is, I'm still convinced that it's the best way for us and for Israel to create a safe zone where we live until the final image of the Middle East, of the relationship between Syria and Israel is cleared. I think it's the best way.
We actually saw videos circulating on social media in the past few days of Druze communities living on the Syrian side of the Golan Heights taking to a vote saying that we want to live under Israeli law. It's quite fascinating seeing these videos, really.
Yes, it's the same idea what I told you. The Syrians are jealous from the people who are living under the Israeli law. So everyone will love to join. So the Druze they are afraid of those Islamists, and they are right. And we are all interested to keep the minority very safe in Syria. So till now, the Al-Qaeda or Al-Nusra or Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, they did not, before they took over in Damascus, during the revolution, the last 13 years, they were not, sending good messages to the minorities. So I understand that the Druze would like to join to Israel, and the entire Hermon villages, which Bejan one of them, where I'm from. So the people will love to enjoy. Why not? Because if they get the same life condition like the people in Golan Heights, why not?
You've advocated for Arab countries to ally with Israel to fight against Iran. Why is that?
Because Israel, although Israel was presented as the first enemy of the Arab land, Israel, we are watching Israel since 70 years. All its war, or the war against Israel, was from the Israeli perspective, was defensive war. Israel did not attack anyone. Israel, for example, the Arabs within Israel, they enjoy their rights. They're equal with everyone. And if you compare what the Israeli project or this enemy with Iran, you know how many people they killed in Iraq, and in Syria and in Yemen, and they want to change the faith of the people, and they want them to mobilize them in its war. So this is a project based on hate and fight, and of course must be resisted by all the Arabs.
Issam Zeitoun, thank you very much for joining me today.
Thank you.